while we get our microphone situated.
Check. 1, 2.
Make sure to check out our Facebook page. Leave comments on the show. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask Don or any of our hosts, you could even check us out on Twitter at Fully Baked Radio. We'll be
FullyBakedRadio.com.
And if you would like to call in, the number to call in will be 609-800-1003. We will be having Dr. Sapal from Oosterdam University calling in, as well as Bill Levin. So please come through.
Welcome back. You're listening to Fully Baked Radio on HamiltonRadio.net. If you're just tuning in, we have been talking with Don K., also known as Karp. He's a veteran here in New Jersey, and he recently came out of the cannabis closet and has been advocating for veterans to be able to access the New Jersey medical marijuana program. A bill was just passed 2 weeks ago in the New Jersey State Assembly, which would expand the program to veterans with PTSD. Don, we want to thank you for having on the show. Tell us more about how we can get in contact with you, and if other veterans out there who are suffering from PTSD, how can they connect with you and your activism?
The best way to get in touch with me is on my Facebook page, first name Vets with a capital V, and last name for Cannabis, all one word.
And Don, will you be at the 420 rally in Trenton?
Absolutely. I'm going to be helping Ed out there.
All right. Look for Don in the leather chaps with the Harley, with the motorcycle.
I'll actually have my vest on, and it has a combat control patch in the back. It's a big special operations patch on the back. My biker vest, I'll have it on.
Well, we want to thank you for being on our show and talking about your experience and for supporting veterans in New Jersey. We really hope this bill passes the Senate and that we'll be able to get medical cannabis to veterans. So thank you.
Hoo-yah, as we say.
Thank you, Donald. Appreciate it.
All right, I wanted to welcome Ed Fortune, also known as New Jersey Weed Man, into the studio.
Or Super Late Man again.
Weed Man's always on island time. So we want to talk about our next story, which is comes from Indiana, which, as you know, just passed a very controversial religious freedom law. And with this law, it pretty much guarantees some protection. It's called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and it generally bans state officials from burdening a person's exercise of religion, even if the burden results from a rule of general applicability. Now, opponents say the law blesses discrimination by business owners against people they dislike, with most news coverage focused on the possible effects on the LGBT community. However, one clever person found a good use for the law, and that's Bill Levin, and he founded the first Church of Cannabis, and he believes that this religious law actually has some positive outcomes for himself and his followers. Phil, you want to introduce our guest?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to Mr. Bill Levin. Thank you, Vanessa, for the introduction. Bill, hi. How you doing? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm well. Thanks for having me on. I love you all. It's a good day out here.
Thanks for coming on.
Tell us more about this Religious Freedom Restoration Act and how you came up with the idea to start a cannabis church.
Well, it was a lot of pathways meeting at the same time. Is just a way to put it. Abdul sort of planted the seed in the fertile ground of the fertilizer that our dear government has put all over our land, and I found a seed that was in that fertilizer. It blossomed into a cannabis plant, and we formed the same day that he signed the bill.
And tell us more about what you plan on doing with the church. Do you have a building yet? What's going to happen next?
I live in Indiana. There's only about 200 or 300 people in this state that will come out about cannabis, okay? I know everybody by a first-name basis. It's such a small community. We have rallies, 56 people show up. So I only expected 200-300 people to reply to this, and I put out a budget for $20,000 to go rent a strip mall church somewhere, and I was going to test the market that way. I didn't realize that we were going to become the fastest growing church in the world in, 7 days. I am in utter shock.
Amen.
We're followers too.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Hey, Bill. This is Ed Fortune, New Jersey Weed Man. Hey, I thought that was like amazing timing. This, that, and the other. Off and on, the Religious Freedom and Restoration Act, the federal one, has been quoted and used by a few other cannabis-related churches. But I think the whole gay and lesbian issue in Indiana really put Indiana's Religious Restoration Act on a national spotlight, and I give you kudos for getting in there and forming a church and riding that publicity. I've been called a media whore, but dude, you're definitely proselytized that way.
Okay, I spent a $26 ticket and I hit the media whore lotto.
Yeah, man. I couldn't. I was like, wow, like Eddie Lepp years ago was trying things like that. I've tried things. There's a few other things, they're out there, but none of us ever got the publicity you got. I was like, wow, like what did this guy do? Like, I give you kudos for that, man. Like I said, I admit being a media whore, so but you really got the big F you.
Sir, I respect you for that. I've known you for years on that. There's a few of us. There's one in every state. And as long as us media whores stay together, we do well. That's when I saw your review. I was more excited about your review than fucking Time Magazine. Oops, I didn't say.
I wouldn't call you media whores because, whores it makes you think like you're selling something. You guys are media gurus, right? Because you use social media well, Twitter, Facebook. You're able to, get out there on the media. I mean, that's clever marketing. So how many people have contacted you that want to be a part of this church, Bill?
In which language?
Oh, in all the languages.
Worldwide.
What would you say has been the response about how many people are interested in the First Church of Cannabis?
For every one letter that we are getting replied to, 3 more are coming in.
Yeah.
So would you say thousands of people have been contacting you?
I'm sure you can't answer all your emails.
And tens of thousands. We blew by thousands on the 3rd day.
Wow.
On the 3rd day.
Yeah. I've seen
on the 3rd day he rose.
I've seen links. I've seen links to his story all over the place. He's got to be getting
everywhere
massive amounts of.
So, are you going to be now the Archbishop of Cannabis, and are you going to have a ceremony on 420? What's going to happen?
Right now, we're rushing to catch up with what's going on. Last week, if you were going to ask me if I was going to hire a media company, a personal assistant, and have a dozen people volunteering, I would have looked at you and go, for what? But all of a sudden, we have this urgent business mode going on here of getting everything together because we're not going to be moving into the 1,000-square-foot strip mall we thought we were originally budgeted for.
Are you going to build a mega church?
People under one roof, We're looking at buildings this week. We're going to try to establish a location, a solid location, until we can change the Indiana building codes to include hempcrete, so we can build our temple out there. We need a large space for freedom. We are going to, we're gonna.
Hey, now,
we're gonna do a lot of.
Hey, Bill. Now, the First Church of Cannabis, can that be franchised, or are you looking to expand it to other states? Within the future?
We're going to license this worldwide. I don't know how you do it. I don't know if our church is called franchises. Are they called licensing?
You should call the Scientologists. They have mastered the franchise.
The first place that gets them are hospitals. Okay? We want a prayer room in every hospital in the world so people can go in, they can vape, they can get their oil, and they can get well because the rest of the rooms in those hospitals poison people.
Man, you got my vote.
Hey, I want to ask all right, I understand the legalities of it. You basically you incorporated, or did you get an LLC, or did you do a
No, we're an incorporation.
501c(r)?
We are incorporated as a church in the state of Indiana. We have our federal tax ID number. We're waiting for all the other little paper to come through because it takes a minute.
Yeah, I was just curious though if it was LLC or 503R.
501(c)(3).
Ask the lawyer what the 50 number is. I have no idea. I said, is it a 501c3? And they go, no, it's a church. It's a 5. And I said, okay, fine. I don't care. You applied for it. We're done. You know, as long as it's been applied for, we're okay.
Okay, well, I was asking that because if it's a 503R, you can open up branches anywhere. You're just based and located in Indiana. You can still have branches, just like a lot of corporations in America are, say, located in Delaware. You know, so that that's their headquarters. Then they have locations all over the place. You know, so that's what I was just wondering if you were LLC, which would be local, or a 503, which you can do.
Again, ask the Scientologists because they have opened up franchises or chapters.
Like, within like the last decade, they're
everywhere.
Literally.
And even in downtown Philadelphia, they're building a giant Mormon temple.
I heard that.
That's like a really big project, hundreds of millions of dollars.
They're spreading so.
All I know, if there was a First Church of Cannabis in this area, I would come to church every day, and I would pray for everyone. I would pray for world peace every day.
Well,
through our church.
Well, Vanessa, we're trying to start the Liberty Bell Temple locally.
Tell us more about this project. I'm sure our listeners are intrigued.
Well, like Bill.
Tell us what. Sorry, there's an echo thing here.
Well, I think she was talking to me, but like I said, like Bill. Started the First Church of Cannabis. I was actually trying to restart the Liberty Bell Temple here in New Jersey, and we were like when you came on the scene, that was like amazing. I was like, wow, right in the middle of I have to look at it as your publicity. I'm going to ride the coattails, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm grabbing onto your coattails, and I have a few media contacts, and I think this week, next week, sometime you might catch a story about the Liberty Bell Temple in New Jersey too.
Well, no, wait. See, now, Steve Hagar started a church union for all the cannabis churches.
Now, the crazy thing about Steve Hagar...
if you get a hold of him or someone at High Times, I'm sure could direct you, but there's the United Federation of Church of Cannabises, or Cannabis Churches. United Federation of Cannabis Churches. And all the different churches are coming up under one umbrella from around the world, so we have one unified place to everybody communicate from.
Well, I'm not gonna throw salt on anybody's game, but the United Cannabis Ministries, I can remember years ago approaching Mr. Hagar, and he wasn't interested in it. So now, hey, I guess times have changed.
And now it's a deeply moving religious experience.
Share
the love,
exactly,
brother. Share the love.
I can remember specifically at the 1998 National Organization of Marijuana conference in Washington D.C. and there was a movement. There were several people all trying to argue for religious argument as the medical argument was proceeding, and they rejected it. And of course, we know the history. Medical came first, and hey, it worked. So. Whatever.
It's legal to worship aliens named Zemu, but it's not legal to worship cannabis. Well, we want to thank you so much for being on our show, Bill. Can you tell our listeners how they can get more information about the First Church of Cannabis, especially if they're in the state of Indiana and want to find out more?
We only have one broadcast blast-out place, which is the First Church of Cannabis on Facebook. We only have one official fundraiser. It is a GoFundMe account, both available on our church site on Facebook. I have a Canacast broadcasting site that you can follow under Bill J. Levin. There's nothing holy about my pages. but the church, I leave church business up to, and good things about the church there. We'll make all the church announcements from the Facebook page.